Hello everybody, welcome back to WhizDum Wednesday. It's a bi-weekly podcast where I basically talk about things in life you may not understand or things to help you improve yourself as a person. It's to basically make you a whiz out of making wise decisions and to steam them up to make them even better. I'd like to start off this wonderful, majestic segment and say this Sunday is going to be my first year being a Twitch affiliate, so it's going to be an entire year, and hopefully you guys can come by and celebrate it with me on twitch.tv/SirDerpyCreeper. Not only that, this Sunday is Valentine's Day. Crazy stuff, right? And I'll talk more about Valentine's Day at the end of the video, or the audio file, whatever we call it here. But I just want to say I'm thankful for all of you being able to help and support me through an entire year, and then not only that, but grow, going from a laptop with a wire to a 2-monitor setup, which is a $2,000 PC, all in 1 year. And it's all thanks to you mainly. I wouldn't be here without you. I wouldn't be here without God providing me, you all in my life, and I'm thankful for you all. I seriously am. So I'll talk more about it at the end of this whole segment, but I really appreciate you all, and I wanted to give my thanks on that. In case you missed the WhizDum Wednesday 2 weeks ago about white. WhizDum Wednesday white, we talked about white lies. And here's the thing, everyone's done them. I've done them. My dad's done them. Even your ancestors have probably white lied at some point in your life. Especially if you want to be nice to people, you have most likely white lied. If you've got kids, you're more than likely to be one of the biggest white liars in life, alright? Because you care about your family, and I get it. There's understandable good reasons to white lie, but for the most part, a lie is a lie. No one's perfect. We've all white lied before, and so I just go into a lot of detail about how, why lying isn't necessarily all as good as it depends on your situation, and it's understanding in certain aspects of why someone would want to do it, but it still doesn't make it good. Just because it's human nature doesn't mean it's a good thing to do. So I talked about that quite a lot in white lies, or white, but I did do a little bit of deception. Did you see that there? But just as easy as the deception of having a title look like something that it isn't, it's still a white lie. Deception is still bad. Deceiving, misleading, it's still bad. No matter how you see it, it's still bad. Any kind of misleading into a bad area of life is bad. So I basically talk about that in the whole segment. If you would like to see it, it's a WhizDum Wednesday white. And it would be really cool if you could listen to that, because, everyone struggles with it. We're all human. All right, we've all struggled with it. To say you haven't white lied before is almost the same equivalent of saying you've never lied before. You know what I mean? Everyone's done it at some point in their life. So I'd encourage you all to listen to it, and let's get on with the segment. So today's segment, I think, is gonna be a bit of a rocky road. It's a thing I was going to do sometime later in the future. I didn't actually plan on doing this today, but I felt like I should. Originally, I was going to do a garden concept because I loved the garden concept that I had come up with, that had kind of got inside my head. But we'll save that for the next time. But we will definitely do that garden concept that I have. But I felt touched on my heart that I should just talk about the world. And no, as much as making the JoJo reference, the worldo, not that world. I think that world's a lot cooler than the world we live in. I'll tell you that. Because, that world's a bad thing, but I guess they're similar in a way, you know what I mean? But in a way, they're also not. All right, I'll talk about certain things. All right, so the main thing I want to mainly talk about is a scripture. It says it's the first half of Romans 12:2, and I'll give you the last half later. But the first half of it says, "Do not be conformed by this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And I'm like, whoa, when I had the idea of talking about the world, I was like, all right, I got to research what could help be understanding of why we should talk about the world. And I think this is a good time to talk about the world. I mean, there's a lot of things we can notice that's wrong with it, and it may even get worse. We don't even know. So I kind of want to just lay bare and say this may be a rocky subject of things. Now, I'm not going to bring up politics in this in a biased or a political view way. I'm not going to bring up my opinions on certain situations unless it's like good and helpful and constructive. Unless it's it's not a one-sided opinion I will be giving. So I hope that helps out, and I hope this is an understandable way of going through. There are some Christian aspects in this, and I hope that helps someone grow or get closer to God in some ways as well. So I hope that this is a very insightful thing. So the world we live in is constantly changing. I mean, you can literally tell. All right, I don't have to explain it to you. Heck, I'm a guy who's inside all the time, and I can tell our world's constantly changing. I mean, within these last few years, I mean, listen, we've got big jumps. All right, we have big jumps. Everybody's making history. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of historical things that happen. There's a freaking disease flying around. You know what I mean? We've got big giant politics problems. We've got a lot that's going on. And so I kind of just want to talk about the world. The world is a bad place, believe it or not. And living of the world is kind of what I want to talk about. I like the concept of being in the world but not of the world. That's a great concept, and it's taught in the Bible. And I just really want to just bring that out and being fully honest and say, I'm going to talk about a lot of the bad things in the world. And boy, howdy, there's a bunch of them. I'm just going to be honest with you. So I want to say that here's the thing. The world always wants you to be a part of something that's made from it, or something that makes you feel, hey, you're a part of us because you live here, kind of the deal. So I want to talk about what our world's turning into, and like what we should have a better mentality on our world, but it's headed in a bad place. And that's just how I believe, and that's just how my heart is, and I feel like I should bring this to you. These are the subjects I'm going to talk about. And like I said, these are going to be a little dicey. So I'm just going to give my opinions. I'm not going to give a biased view on these. I guess you could say I'm giving a biased view on how to grow somebody, but it's not a biased view that's going to disrespect anybody, and I don't want to disrespect anybody. So I'm going to give you all these segments we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about diversity, pornography, marriage, media, politics, opinions, and positivity. All of these things in one video. We're going to talk a lot of these because here's the thing. The world wants to warp these things and also make them more bare and make them inside of you. You know what I mean? They want you to feel these kinds of things in certain ways. It depends on which ones. Some of them are twisted. Some of them are already twisted as they are, being the way they are. So the first thing I want to talk about is diversity. Here's the thing. All right, the world this day wants to teach people that, hey, listen, you've got a different skin color, so you are automatically different from everybody else. I think that's messed up. That's just how I feel. I feel a lot of our daily media and all the things that we read now, we're seeing things that either praise a person's skin color or degrades a person's skin color instead of embracing us all. Here's the thing is that, like, yes, we're different, all right? Listen, we all look weird and we all smell funny, all right? That's just how I believe us. But our world this day is trying to teach us, hey, listen, instead of embracing everybody's difference and, the beauty in our diversity, we have people who think, oh, snap, this one is like some ultimate power, or this one isn't ultimate power enough, so let's make them feel like they're more powerful than the other instead of making everybody equal. That is the goal for the most part of the world. Yes, there are good people in the world that see, hey, we're all equal. I don't see you as different because of a different race, culture, or lifestyle that you live from me, and that's great. But for the majority and the ones that get shouted and, out there, the bad mentality spreads. And there's been a bad mentality about this spreading very hardcore. You've got people being self-centered and obnoxious, getting people their own months, for example. Hint, hint, this month. This one's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, and people won't agree with me on this. But here's the thing, and I am not a big fan of celebration months. I think that's a terrible idea. I think we shouldn't celebrate something every month for certain people, all right, you know? Like, for example, this month. It does not mean I dislike anybody who is being celebrated this month. Just like in June. I'm not hating on anybody who gets celebrated within the month of June. Even in December. You know, December is supposed to be the giving month, and guess what? Barely anybody gives. Barely anybody gives to other people outside of December. They're like, oh, it's the jolly season, you know what I mean? But then the jolly season dies pretty much after it. December's the month where everyone brags about giving to someone else. February is the month where, hey, I'm a different color than you are. We might as well be better. That's the majority of the mindset that gets spread. It's a terrible thing because people spin these things in bad ways. Instead of saying, instead of being an all year round celebration of who we are as a person or people or our differences, we lock it to a month. You know what I mean? I think that's to me, in my personal opinion, I don't like that about society. Our society has created this convoluted way of it's almost like a bias, like a terrible bias that only makes one side look way better instead of making everyone better. Sadly, and I'm just going to be honest with you, this month only spotlights one race. I don't like that. I think that's a terrible thing. Don't get me wrong. Yes, there's different things that everybody struggles with, but instead of spotlighting one, spotlight them all. There's different things everyone's been through in their lives and the things that they had to do, even in the past. But we're mainly celebrating things that are so far in the past as well. Our diversity shouldn't be used to divide, and that's the problem today. People are using our diversity to divide us all. That's what it's being used to. It's the majority mindset. That's what's terribly wrong. And that's why I think being that section of the world is a terrible thing. Next thing is pornography. Believe it or not, sexual things are being glorified like a boss. All right. Now, don't get me wrong. You have your own way of life. You have your own way of doing things. All right. But I can agree with everybody here, or at least anybody who's gone through the struggles like I have before, where sexual desires can lead to an addiction. They can really mess your life up. They can really destroy things, Not only that, it creates an environment where, hey, guess what? You know what I mean? Where, hey, you know what? Honestly, it's okay to just, sleep with everybody that you know? And since it's getting glorified and pumped out there, you know what I mean? Like pump, there's just, it's everywhere. It's getting more known. People are doing way more inhumane things now and doing more and more of that stuff. And people are thinking, oh, it's okay to do it like this. And it's like, well, not necessarily. It's not okay to do it like that at all. That's my personal opinion. And it's not good. I think this is the reason why a lot of people are self-centered about themselves too. Because now society's teaching you, hey, listen, if you don't look good sexually, honestly, you probably have no reason in life. That's probably why a lot of women and a lot of girls, all right, on Snapchat, 14-year-old girls, for example, they're trying to fit in, so they do these disgusting things. It's like, that's not cool, you know what I mean? They're trying to live up to a standard that the society has created onto them, and it's horrible. It's a thing that's like, it hurts my heart and it yearns it, because I'm like, this is wrong. This is a problem, We shouldn't be sitting here letting this happen to people. And by the way, it's very easy for a child to see this stuff. It is. All right, believe it or not, when I was around 11 myself, I was already into contact with seeing what this crap was. And that's never a good thing. I think if you're a child and you get into contact with stuff like that early, it's not good. It warps your whole mindset and personality in a way. And it gives you a bad start on your mentality in the future. Parents aren't caring for their kids a whole lot when it comes to this kind of stuff, and it's a painful thing. It's really painful to see. Not only that, this also creates a thing of beauty. Everyone thinks, oh, you gotta be the hot person. You know what I mean? You gotta be the hot person. You gotta be the one that looks good, or else you're not gonna make a living in life. That's because our society is built off of something like that. is something horrible. And here's the thing, by the way. Listen, you're beautifully and wonderfully created. I believe each and every one of you are. It doesn't matter what you look like, all right? If your heart is what's beautiful, that's what matters the most, all right? You know, your looks don't have to mean anything. Because you know why? You look a certain way for a reason, all right? It doesn't matter what you look like or what you feel like. You are made with a purpose and for a good reason. I believe that you are not an ugly person, all right? For me, here's the thing. I struggled when I was younger, feeling, oh, I'm ugly. No one's going to date me. You know, I struggled with that a lot, you know, in high school. And in reality, it's like, you know, I always saw myself as ugly. And I think as if you see yourself as ugly, I think that's what the main thing is. Well, obviously, the people that are good, obviously. All right, people are going to be like, well, you think you're ugly? That's not cool. It's like having confidence in yourself. If you're not confident in yourself, how is someone else going to be confident in you? Be confident in yourself. Here's the thing. When I started being confident in myself and I started looking in the mirror and say, all right, listen, man, you're like a hunk of junk. You know what I mean? Like you're Hulk Hogan or something. All right. I started having more confidence and had fun with myself, you know? Like I had fun. I was like, you know what? This is fun. And I started feeling better about myself. Now I feel like I'm hot. I ain't gonna lie, all right? But in reality, that's the case, you know? Society's trying to spread this thing of, oh, you gotta look good to get all the boys or to get all the girls, you know what I mean? And that's not the case, you know? Really, society should be about what's your heart? What's your personality? What do you do for other people? How do you react to other people? That's what should be praised, you know? Well, not should be praised. I think God should be praised most of all, but that's what should be lifted up, is what are you going to do? What do you do with other people? What is your heart? What does it say? That's what should be important. And I think pornography is just really just diluted that view, especially how much it gets pumped out all the time from like a lot of people. You know how many times I got to go on Instagram? My gosh, I ain't gonna lie. Listen, I got to go on Instagram and I got to keep constantly putting not interested and stuff like that because I keep seeing the stuff pop up. I keep seeing it on my YouTube recommended. It's just all over the place, you know? And, you know, it sucks. You know, when you see this stuff, you're like, man, dude, these things are just trying to get at me, dude. And, you know, and I'm not going to judge anybody. By the way, here's the thing, all right? If you're a person that struggles with it, my heart goes out to you, and I'm praying for you, all right? Listen, it's not fun to struggle with something like that. I admire anybody who tries to fight that kind of struggle, too. It's a hard thing to struggle, all right? It's one of those things that if you're addicted to, like I mentioned in withdrawal and sign and warnings, is that, like, you know, it's a part of your body, you know what I mean? Like, it's not something you can buy at the store or obtain. It's like there, you know what I mean? And so it's one of the hardest things to fight, and I think it gets taken advantage of a lot by a lot of people online and stuff. So that's just my personal opinion on that as well. The world wants you to marry quick and divorce real fast. That's another one. So we're talking about marriage. So I don't know a lot about marriage. I'm not married myself. I'm just going to be honest with you. I've had one girlfriend, and it was online. So I have no clue how marriage works, how it goes, and what struggles people have to go to. But I will say the world wants you to marry fast. It wants you to make decisions way too rash and then cause yourselves to marry the wrong kind of person way too fast. That's what the world wants you to do. It's what it wants you to think. And so when I see a lot of people have divorced parents, including myself, I have divorced parents as well. And, you know, I'm not mad at my parents for it. I mean, you know, when you make decisions too quick or something like that, or just feel like you made the wrong decision, stuff like that happens, you know. But I'd say the reason our divorce rates are so high within, like, I don't know if it's just America only, but I feel like it's just worldwide in a way. It's like, you know, the reason divorce rates are so high is, one, you're marrying the wrong person, all right? And here's a joke, too. I'll say this joke to make it more lighthearted, because I saw this before. The number one reason for divorce rates is marriage. So, I mean, it's true, though. If you don't get married, you don't get divorced. So, but, you know, in all reality is the reason our divorce rates are so high. It's because people are marrying the wrong people. They're jumping into a ship that they think, oh, this is great. But there's a bunch of holes inside of it, you know? They don't fix themselves. They're either living with other people before they're married, and they're having a wrong mentality or something like that, you know? Here's the thing, too, is that I have seen people who are literally 18 and 19, or like close to teenager range, almost young adult, and they have treated their families way better than most of the families I see anymore these days because of our society, the way the world is that. It doesn't like marriage. Not faithful marriage, anyway. That's why pornography is pumped out everywhere. I guarantee you, you got these videos, for example, I'll say it, there's videos out there that glorify cheating on your wife or cheating on your husband, stuff like that, it's bad, believe it or not. Just because it's a temporary feel-good doesn't mean it's good, And that's the thing I'll talk about in a little bit, too, when it comes to positivity. But, yeah, marriage is a problem, Marrying too fast. Now, I'm not saying that, if you marry within a year, all right, you're making a terrible decision. You may be making a great decision, for all I know. I don't know. But for the most part, if you're marrying the wrong person, you're gonna welcome yourself to divorce or having a miserable married life. That's why it's always important to marry somebody that you're going to care about. I think marriage and relationship is the main thing of this, and this is the thing that can count towards Valentine's Day too. It teaches you, hey, listen, marriage. I just want to marry you fast because maybe I just want a certain amount of money, maybe want some taxes taken off. I don't know. There's a lot of messed up ways that you can go about it. And I'm not going to talk into big details. I'm just giving a general basis of what the world wants you to do. All right. And then you got people who are like peanut galleries. They're like, yeah, divorce real quick. And here's the thing too, by the way. Let's say you marry the right person, but then you're struggling within a couple of years after marrying them and you're wanting to give up. Don't give up. Not if you're already in there. No. If you're already in there, you need to, for the most part, unless something really bad happens and you got to let go, you need to literally go through with it. Listen, you made a vow, all right? And I think that's a thing that gets taken not literally anymore, is the vows. You vow, hey, listen, I'll be with you forever. But if you're willing to kick him out and divorce him, then you broke your vow right there. You make this vow and it's an important vow. The world says, hey, get out of them. Listen, they don't agree with you? Get them out of here, man. We don't want you in here. So that's my thought about marriage. Now we'll talk about media. Our media and our media world, believe it or not, like almost any other place, it's corrupt. I mean, you've got people who... we have a media, like I mentioned back in Wagon. Well, believe it or not, I'm actually looking at the Wagon picture at the moment. We have a media that would rather beat the crud down and bash something and destroy it rather than know the truth. You get a little bit of the truth, they come and swing with their bats, breaking everything, and then they're like, oh, we found out the truth, but the damage has already been done. That's how our media is. Our media is flames first, then ask questions later. And I think it's disgusting. I think it's a terrible thing. Now, not all forms of media do this. I'm just going to be honest with you, but the majority is, and it's a problem. It's a big problem. I think it's terrible. I don't think media should control the world, but here's the thing. At the rate that we're going, homies, media is probably going to be the one controlling the world. Not controlling the world like necessarily, but information-wise, it controls the world as it is right now. The way we get our information is through media. That's how we get our information. And, no one sees this, but it's easy to corrupt, information, to fabricate it, to take things out of context. Believe it or not, I mean, you've seen it before. You had to have seen it. Articles, lying, clickbait, all these different things, giving a different notion of what actually happened. And it may be even a true statement. And this is why I'd like to say it. I don't know if I mentioned this in WhizDum Wednesday or not, but just because something's a true statement doesn't mean it's true. The truth is the truth. So you can say a true statement, but if your initial intention was different before then it's not honesty. You're sitting there lying. And we have a lying media these days. We have a lying media. We have people who are streamers. Like, you got a lot of streamer people, a lot of online personalities. They also lie. They white lie. They spread things. They even spread bad behavior. They glorify this attack first, ask questions later behavior sometimes. And I think it's disgusting. I think it's terrible. I don't think we should have something like that in our world. I think what we need to do is spread something great, And my goal with this is combat bad media. I don't think we should have bad media, or at least biased media. I think it's disgusting. I think we should have a media where everyone can think freely, but we have a media right now where if you have a different thought, and by the way, we'll get into this next part too, But if you have a different thought about maybe politics are terrible. Listen, as a person who knows what it's like to be consumed by politics is not good to get into. It's okay to look into it and understand, all right, listen, I want this for my country, all that. All right, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when you're consumed with politics. I've seen so many people, oh my gosh, they think they have this absolute opinion of the world, all right? And it's terrible. It's like, man, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you constantly saying you have an absolute view on this world? It's a terrible thing. Your view on politics does not dictate the entire world. And a lot of people think politics is life. And the world really wants you to grab you in there. It really wants you to get your heart riled up. Oh man, those angry liberals or those angry conservatives, they really riled me up. And then it turns your heart to stone, is what I'm saying. Politics is never a good thing to attach yourself to. Now, it's okay to look at it, like I said. Look at it and say, all right, do I want this person as a president or do I want this person elected into an office? There's nothing wrong with looking into somebody, all right? But when you have this absolute opinion just because someone's on one side or someone does one thing someone else does, it's not good. It's not good to get your heart attached to it. And I'll be honest, I'll admit my faults. I used to be a hardcore right-leaning person, all right? I used to get mad at every single thing, anything on the left happened that was good. All right, I used to get super riled up. I'm not like that anymore because I realized how bad it affected my heart. And that's why I'm telling you this as well. If you are too attached to politics, let go. All it is going to do is ruin your heart. And not only that, it continues to divide us as people. We're divided as a country, believe it or not, in America anyway. I don't know how it is in other countries, but in America, we are divided. We're divided because of the fact that we have hardcore left, hardcore right, all right? And then we have leaners, so obviously. I admire the leaners. I think they're pretty cool. And then we have middle. That's how things are going, basically. And I don't like that. I don't think we should accept it either. And we'll get into opinions as well. Opinions is one thing I strongly advise that, you have to be acknowledging of other people have different opinions. The problem with politics, and I'll bring this up, is because you've got two sides that are highly understandable from whichever side that you're on. I get it completely. I understand the reasonings and the wants for some of them on one and then some of them on the other. But if you can't respect the fact that someone on the other side has a different opinion than yours and can't own up and be like okay about it or agree to disagree, that's a problem. And the world wants you to think, hey, listen, your opinion's the ultimate one, all right? Anyone who differs from your opinion, they're wrong. Don't believe that mentality. That right there is evil trying to breathe its heinous breath down your neck, basically. It's not good. It's not good to have that mentality. You need to be open to kickback, to feedback, because here's the thing, your opinion cannot be absolute. That's just how it is, all right? Now, if you want to have an absolute opinion on your belief, for example, I have an absolute opinion on my belief as in, like, what I believe in is in God, for example. I have that as an absolute opinion. But I can openly minded and say to other people, you can live the way you want, and I don't want to condemn you or make you feel condemned. All right, I don't care how you live. I mean, I love you, and I will gladly, tell you a good, better way of life. But I'm not gonna sit there and tell you, hey, listen, you don't agree with my way of thinking, you're gonna burn. That's not a right way of doing things. And that should be a thing too, is about like, belief systems. I don't like saying religion. I think religion's just a thing I think a religion is a very big categorization that categorizes everything into something else. So I think belief sounds cooler personally. But, your belief, what you believe in, if you can acknowledge that other people have different beliefs, then that's fine. That's what makes you a human. You can't expect everybody to believe what you believe. We're in a world where there's so many different things. You can't tell people, hey, listen, my way's the only way. That's not how it should be. We have a freedom of will for a reason, And in this goes to politics, anything like that, Opinions are important to have. If someone doesn't have the same opinion as you, now here's the thing, there's obviously drastic opinions, all right? But believe it or not, I've seen this through media-wise, People radicalize opinions. They jump the gun and say, oh, well, you like this person, you must like every single little thing about them. And that's not right. That's not right. And that's what the world wants you to think. Don't be like that. Be open-minded. Say there, look at people and say, all right, we see things differently. Believe it or not, by the way, I have atheist friends, probably more atheist friends than I do with Christian friends, which isn't a bad thing. And I mention this a lot, but I can respect someone who is an atheist or doesn't believe in God because I understand they're human, all right? And that's what I think a lot of people forget is that, we're all human. We're still all human. We all bleed the same, And that's the thing, too. I know I'm jumping around here, but back on the diversity thing just a tad bit. There's a song by Toby Mac, and I forgot her name. I don't know what her name is. Don't hurt me, but it's called We All Bleed the Same. We all bleed the same. We all go through the same struggles. And, back on the subject of, beliefs here is, I don't see my atheist friends as atheists. I see them as humans. And I think that's a thing that we all should really see each other as humans. We're not perfect, and hopefully you don't feel like you have to be perfect. I'm just talking about how the world is. The world wants to make you think that you have to be perfect, or you have to be something that's way too good, and that's a terrible thing. It wants you to make you think, hey, listen, you think very drastically from this person. Yep, they're the spawn of Satan. It's like, no. I don't see atheists as atheists. I see them as human beings, as friends. And that's how I think other people should see other people, is that, don't see someone as their belief system. See them as for who they are. Now, if you see me, though, all right, I would love to be called a Christian man. Don't get me wrong. I'm a guy who wants to, give God what he needs, give God what God wants. That's just my belief in the way I believe on life. And the last little subject we'll talk about here is positivity. Now, here's the cool thing, all right? Positivity is good, only done in the right way. I've seen a lot of quote-unquote positive communities. What they will do is they'll say, I'm a positive person, but if you share a different opinion than me, you're out of the door, homie, and I don't like that. I think it's disgusting. Real positivity is truth, Sometimes positivity gets convoluted with white lies, and I think that's disgusting as well. Don't get me wrong, it's not the person's fault most likely. It's just the notion we have spread as a society is that, all right, listen, all right, if we lie to people and tell them, hey, they're okay, and, we're counted as a positive community member, that's not true. My personal opinion is what true positivity is one, you can encourage people, but also tell them the truth when they need to hear it. That's what true positivity is. Not one-sided positivity. Okay, there's different kinds of positivities. I'll talk about it. All right. One-sided positivity. You've got one eye closed. Do you think you got an open mind, but you hear someone have a different opinion? Boom. Close the door on them. You only care about the people inside. There is the white lie positivity, where you're welcoming everybody in, but you're telling them little white lies that aren't really true in what you feel in your heart. And then there's the encouraging and real positivity, which I really love. Is like, that's the one I try to implement a lot. It's the to encourage other people, inspire them, encourage them to do better with their lives. And not only that, but to be real with them. Because here's the thing, white lying only goes so far, and then white lying doesn't make them feel confident in themselves. Lift them up when they do something good. Don't lie to them when they do something bad and say, oh, this was good. No. Be real. If you're fun, encouraging, and real, now you don't have to be fun all the time for positivity, but real positivity, the real true positivity is you can be real and you can be encouraging. That's what I feel is the real kind of positivity. Now, if the other positivity still give a good light to something, sure, that's great, but I think it will also spread a bad mentality. So the world wants you to be positive, but only in the way that that person who's positive agrees with. I don't like that. I think positivity also comes where you can put yourself down and say, hey, listen, I'm messed up and broken too, I'm not a perfect human being, that's what is that, integrity, stuff like that, where you can acknowledge yourself as being a real person, being honest, being upfront with people. And I did forget another subject, and I meant to put this on my bullet points, but I got it now. Materialism. The world wants you to think that you should value gifts and these physical objects over something meaningful in life. It's true. Listen, I would rather earn something in my heart that says, hey, you know what? You've got a good new perspective on life. You got a new way of treating other people in a good way. The world wants you to say, oh, listen, man, you know what shows love the best way? Get him a freaking $20 gift card to Starbucks or something. You know what I mean? The world says, hey, listen, you know what would really show your love? You sit there and you go buy him out some gifts, Go buy him or her some gifts, Go buy him something. Go buy him something, When in reality, yes, I believe the thought counts, but here's the thing, though. Love isn't shared through something like an object all the time. People confuse it all the time. They say, oh, man, he buys me so many things, or she buys me so many things. It doesn't matter how many things you get bought. It matters of the heart that connects with other people. Not only that, I think people think that, oh man, I've heard this argument before. I give you so many things other than somebody else. Well, it's like, sure, you can give somebody gifts more than somebody else, but it doesn't mean anything. You shouldn't lay all these things into gifts. It's okay to have the thought that counts and then giving something to someone. There's nothing wrong with that. But the moment you try to convolute and think, oh, me giving gifts is an act of love, of, oh man, dude, listen, I give you more than other people do. It's like, no, that's not the case. When you give people gifts, and that's the only thing you do when it comes to giving love, then you aren't giving love. You're just giving gifts. You're giving empty boxes that have no value to them to me. The reason the thought counts is because, listen, that's when you put your work into it. You put your thought into it. That's where it counts. I've seen so many people obsessed with materialism that they feel ungrateful just for the smallest little thing, They're ungrateful because something feels a little tad bit weird. Instead of adjusting their mind in the way that they can do to something, they're like, man, you know what? I don't like this gift anymore. It's like, man, there goes that energy. You know what I mean? There goes the energy that you put into that. There goes, it's a thing that makes you feel, wow, what in the world? Because if you value material things over relationship, over reconciliation, all these things of like being with people or growing in your heart or just growing as a person, then you're already failing as a person. And that's just me being honest. You fail as a person sometimes. Now, don't get me wrong. No one's perfect. All right? If you didn't know this, then no, obviously, I don't think you're a failure. But you're implementing a wrong lifestyle into your life. Materialism is a terrible thing to get into. Do not value gifts or objects higher than something that can be meaningful to you. There's a difference between receiving a gift that's meaningful, like if a kid draws you a picture and they put a lot of time and effort into it, that's different. Because that's the time they put into it. They drew that for you. It has a different energy for you than going out buying a $20 Starbucks gift card and saying, hey, happy birthday, I think things that take a lot of thought and heart into are better. Now, it's okay if you want to give a Starbucks gift card. I'm not calling anybody out for giving a Starbucks gift card to anybody. So, if they really love coffee, go for it. But, I think it's just an important thing to do not value gifts over something that's meaningful in your life or a lesson that you can learn. And I see that a lot with people in life, and that's what the world wants you to do, The world wants you to have that. And that's pretty much all the segments are the bullet points I want to go through. But I want to kind of leave you off in a little bit of a thing here, which I think was really powerful and really cool. The first thing I want to tell you is about Romans 12:2, like I mentioned earlier today. Do not be conformed by this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, all right? Because here's the thing, we're born, all right? We're born into the world, so guess what? We feel like we're a part of it. We're automatically accustomed to these standards that the world will throw at us. And so, believe it or not, we grow in different things in the world as well, which, I'll bring that up in garden. But there's this one thing that I really learned Sunday, and I really want to share this audio. It's from Compassion Church by Pastor Scott Worley. I think he's a really cool dude. I was watching the live stream. Oh, man, I'm telling you, dude, that was a powerful live stream. So I want to give you this audio segment here, this audio clip that I took from the live stream, and I'll give credit where it's due. It's Compassion Church on Facebook. They live streamed this Sunday, And Pastor Scott Worley was just talking about how we are of the world in a way, and like, you know, how some of us can grow up in the world. You know, he gives way more symbolism, and the whole segment speaks for itself. So I'm gonna let you hear the segment.
You see, when we really get down to the root of it, we need to understand what holy is. Holy is set apart. Holy means to be different. When we're called to be holy, we're called to be different from the world. That's what John was saying. He was saying, listen, your love for the world will take you out of the love of the Father, because it will pull you away. You won't be different. And I've called you to be different. I've called you to a higher standard. There's much more that I want for you. So much more. I've called you to be different. I've called you to be holy. And your conduct is a reflection of that. I promise, like, we're doing things different today, I know, and it's all good because the Lord orchestrated it. And I'm going to close, I promise. But I was reminded of a story. I was reminded of a story. I was listening to this guy, Robin, you know, Inky Johnson, man, he gets me fired up. And he was telling the story. He was telling this story about a baby lion, and it was in a pride of lions. And this is the thing, is that he got separated from the pride. A pride is like a big group of lions, but this baby lion ended up getting separated from his pride. And what happened was he joined in with a family of sheep. And he joined in. He didn't know who he was. He didn't know he was a lion. He was a baby, is all he knew. So he hung with the sheep, and guess what? He became a sheep. He lived life as a sheep. He walked life as a sheep. He did his life, lived it all as a sheep, but was a lion. And then one day a lion saw this lion in the midst of all these sheep, and he's like, what? What is going on? So he pulls this lion to the side and is like, man, don't you know who you are? And he's like, looks around, I'm a sheep. Like they're going by, and he's going, roar. He didn't know the difference though. So what that lion did to the other lion that thought he was a sheep is he brought him over to this pond. And he said, look at yourself. Look down and see the reflection of yourself. See who you are. And he looked down in that pond, and he saw a lion, and he looked at the lion, and he saw himself, and he said, I'm a lion. He said, yes, you are a lion. Now be who you are. Be who you are. God created each and every one of us to be a certain person, to be a certain way, to do certain things. What I came to tell you today is be who you are. He said be holy. Be holy. He said be different. Be different. Be set apart. Look at the reflection. Look at it. He has a great call on us. Us. He has a plan for us. There's something for us to do. Revival's near. It's near. And it will happen with us. as soon as we get into the position to receive His instruction. You see, if we're not ready for that instruction, we can't receive it. But He's saying, be different so I can give you that. Because listen, Paul said it like this. He said, when you get ready to do the Lord's Supper, examine yourself. Examine yourself. See if there's things within you that need to be changed. See if there's something you need to repent of. See if there's a direction that needs to be shifted. See if there's something about you that needs to be changed.
Now, whether you're a Christian or not, I feel like that can impact you in some way. That lion in the sheep story is something very impactful. All right, and again, by the way, if you want to check out the full sermon, there's a full sermon about it. It's on Compassion Church McEwen on Facebook and YouTube as well. I'll put links in the description for you. But that there is powerful, you know. I think anybody who listens to that and hears that, you know, even if you're not a Christian, it really grabs your heart, you know. It really says, hey, you know, we don't need to be of the world, you know, and just because we grow up in it, just because we grow up in it, we think that, oh, everything's all good, everything's that, we've got to follow these standards that we were born into, it doesn't mean you have to. There's something so much more inside of you that you haven't seen yet. You haven't seen your own reflection yet. You know, you're probably stuck there thinking you're just like a sheep, like everybody else, you know? You think that you're a sheep, but in reality, you're a roaring lion, you know? And I love that symbolism. And I think that's an amazing thing. And I want to give you the last half of Romans 12:2. The first half is this: do not be conformed by this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And here's the second half. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. That's something that's beautiful. I agree with that completely. Because here's the thing: the world wants you to transform to something that isn't good. Believe it or not. Listen, the world's not good. As you can tell with how humans and how everyone is, we're naturally bad. We're naturally bad. You see all the destruction that's happening these days, you're wondering, well, what's going on? It's because the world's naturally bad. You can say there's good aspects of it, sure, but to an extent, I'd agree. But all that I've mentioned so far and what that segment mentioned, that's truth right there. And if you saw something new after hearing that audio segment or something that I've said, and you're like, what do I do next? Well, normally I won't put this in a Wisdom Wednesday, but I put this in this Wisdom Wednesday because I feel like someone needs this. And keep walking towards God. Listen, if your eyes got open from that, you keep walking forward, homie. And hey, if you need to message me or anybody else, listen, you message us, all right? Seriously. If you need any help doing so, you message me. You message someone else that can help you do so or encourage you to do better, you know? I feel like someone out there really got their heart grabbed. from this. Like, as soon as I heard that audio, I thought someone needs this. Somebody needed to hear this, and I don't know who it is, who needs it, but someone needed it. And if you got that, if you got what you needed from that, please let me know. Talk to me. If you need to go talk to someone else, please let them know. But let someone know. Help someone encourage you to be different from the world. Don't be the same thing the world's trying to make you. The world has this magnetic pull, just like God does. It has an opposite magnetic pull that makes you want to value too many things that are in the world instead of things that you should be focusing on. And if that opened your eyes at any point, say something. Improve more. Further that relationship. Further that feeling that you like, what in the world, you know? You know, I heard a lot of people say they even cried from hearing that audio clip. I ain't gonna lie. Like, that's an eye-opener. It's an eye-opener. You've got a lot of potential inside of you, yet you're sleeping on it. You're not doing a lot, you know? You're sleeping on your potential. You don't even notice the potential that you have because you haven't seen your true reflection of who you really are. The world wants to make you scared to be you, you know? It always wants you to make you scared to be you, especially nowadays when things are like, hey, if you have a different opinion, you're basically a bad person, you know? And it's scary to be you. You know, it's a thing I struggle with myself, and I guarantee you, it's not easy, but it feels way better being yourself, being you. You know, just because the media world or the world's saying, don't you be you, the majority doesn't like you. Be you. Seriously. Be who you are. Just like that audio segment said. I'm going to leave it off right there. I think that audio segment speaks for itself, and if you would like a link to that audio segment, I will put it in the description, and I'll put it in my Twitch chat as well if you're listening on Twitch, or if you're listening on SoundCloud, anything, anywhere else, wherever I put this. I encourage you to do better. Do more. I listed out everything that's pretty much, not even everything. I just give big, giant examples of what is wrong with the world and being of the world. Be someone that's in the world but not of it. Improve who you are. Become a better person. Let that heart boom and come alive. Again, or maybe for the first time. My question to you, though, is, are you a sheep? Or are you that lion that decided to wake up and become something way better? Thank you all so much for listening to this segment. I hope it impacted you. And literally, like I said at the end of the segment, if you had your eyes open or you just don't know where to go now after hearing something like that, message someone you trust, even message me. I don't know. I don't even care if you're a complete stranger. I would love to hear about it. I just feel strongly that someone needed it. Someone out there just needed to hear something like that. And I don't know why, but whoever out there that needed it, you've got to go forward. You got to move forward. You can't sit where you're at. As all of you know, Sunday is Valentine's Day. All right. Not only is it my 1-year Twitch anniversary, but which I will talk about that later, but Valentine's Day is coming up. All right. My personal opinion, like I mentioned with materialism, I don't think you should buy, whoever needs to hear this obviously, don't buy your girlfriend or boyfriend a gift. Make them something. Put your heart into it. I mean, you love them, right? Don't just buy them something simple, you know? I mean, get them something they'd really love, but like, make them something. Get a little bit of an extra in there, you know? Show how much you love them. I think that's an important thing. Don't forget it's Valentine's Day either. All right, listen, I don't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Well, I mean, I'm straight, so obviously I wouldn't have a boyfriend. But I don't have a girlfriend. But it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. And for the single people out there who feel lonely on Valentine's Day, here's the thing, all right? It's okay to not have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, all right? Sometimes it just means you're not ready for it, all right? I got into a relationship, and I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't necessarily ready for it. Now, it turned into something good that, we ended up cutting our ties at some point within the last year, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't bad, but I also wasn't ready for one. Sometimes we have to prepare ourselves or be ready for it, and sometimes we're single, A thing that I've heard before is that, hey, listen, sometimes it's better not to marry because you're better as a person. Sometimes it just depends on what your heart's at. In the Bible, for example, if any of you need some encouragement from the Bible, Paul even says if you don't marry, you care more about what God thinks instead of what your wife thinks. So, in a way, there's good and bads, obviously, but and if you feel lonely and need a hunk of junk or a lady woman, just be patient. It's completely your choice, but be patient. Don't be desperate. I was desperate before, and being desperate destroyed me. All right, it put me in a bad place. Now, however, it was used for good later, but it still put me in a bad place. So, I want to say, don't feel lonely if you're a lonely person. All right, and by the way, listen, I'm a lonely person, I guess you could say. Well, if you're lonely, I can't really tell you not to feel lonely, but hey, listen, that's why I want to talk about this right coming up now. Listen. You can join me in being lonely on my 1-year celebration of being a Twitch affiliate. All right, this Sunday. All right, because I don't got a girlfriend or a date to go with. All right, listen, that's Sunday. All right, that's my rest day. I need to make another rest day. Snap. All right, Thursday's gonna be my rest day or something. I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but please come celebrate it with me. I think it'd be really cool. I've got a new overlay coming up. I've got a lot of new things coming for the future with my Twitch channel. It's going to be amped up, like a lot. And I'd love to see you all here, especially all the people who've helped me. The ones who have helped me, I really want to thank you personally on Twitch. I think that'll be a great thing. But anyway, I got Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and TikTok. You can check them out in my description, or you can find them on TikTok. They're all Sir Derpy Creeper. TikTok's at Sir Derpy Creeper, with no spaces on all of them. And we have Spotify and SoundCloud. Now, I'm not paying for SoundCloud at the moment for the premium, so Spotify and SoundCloud aren't going to be updated. So there's probably only like 5 on them. But I will be updating them whenever I can and get the money to be able to. And I've got YouTube and Twitch. YouTube is where I post all my updated VODs for WhizDum Wednesday. All my content is on YouTube. If you ever miss anything, you can go to YouTube and watch my WhizDum Wednesdays and listen to them. They're always going to be there. So if you're ever like, man, where's another WhizDum Wednesday? There's plenty of them. I think I'm on episode 32 right now of WhizDum Wednesday, so it's going awesome. So I highly encourage you to check it out on YouTube and Twitch as well. Listen, if you can watch it live, I can talk to you live. I think that'll be really cool. So if any of you listening on Twitch, for example, or listening to it at the moment, if you've got something to say, I'd love to hear it. Any feedback, if I did something wrong, or if you got an opinion or some way I can improve, I'd love to hear anything like that. Or if I just said something that really just touched you, or if you heard something that touched you, let me know. I'd love to hear about that. It encourages me to hear about other people, and it's really awesome. I love hearing about it when I hear from other people. It's just so cool, and I love it. And it makes me feel like, hey, we connect as people, But anyway, that's pretty much it. Remember, you're a lion. Whoever realized they're a lion today, you're a lion. And you have a lot of potential inside of you that you haven't been working on. Not only that, the world's been trying to tell you, yeah, you're just a regular old Nancy. You're just a regular old, regular old human. You can't do anything. That's what the world will try to tell you. But be different. The world is not something you should put your heart in. Put your heart in on improvement or God. Obviously I'm biased in that aspect. I think God's a great way to put your heart into, especially when you realize you're not of the world. Anyway, until next WhizDum Wednesday, I will see you. So have a good rest of the week, and have a happy Valentine's Day, and hope to see you on my majestic stream this Sunday. See ya.